Hey everyone, this is Black SC and welcome back to my channel. So a lot of people are getting a gridiron from the November event, or maybe you own one and haven't used it in a while. Well, in this video I'll go over a couple of options for the GI and demo my recommended build for the chassis. Well, a little bit of history first. When the GI first came out, I seem to remember it was one of the first hero mechs that didn't have some sort of lore backing the chassis. Now it's no longer a controversy, but at the time, most if not all the hero mechs did have some backstory. The GI also didn't add anything really special to the Hunchback, since a single missile hardpoint couldn't really be used effectively. Therefore, mostly you saw ballistic and energy builds, like those found in the 4G and the 4H. Overall, nothing really stood out about it, and it was considered pretty mediocre at that time. Now we fast forward to 2015. The Gridiron gained a 50% Gauss cooldown quirk, and combined with the cooldown module and elite efficiencies, the chassis could toss non-stop Gauss rounds downrange. This not only made it more effective in the game, but also led to a unique and interesting playstyle that can only be done on chassis. However, PGI decided that 50% quirks pigeonholed mechs into one type of build, and therefore all 50% quirks were reduced, including the GIs. I think that was an unfortunate decision, since the mech with these extreme quirks mostly needed them to compensate for some major weaknesses. Well, not only that, the Gauss cooldown was also increased to effectively 5.75 seconds if you include the charge time, further hurting the Gauss build. In the end, players who wanted to min-max the GI often ended up resorting to some variation of existing meta builds, since its signature build became much worse than before. What this really did was reduce gameplay variety instead of increasing it, which is the opposite of what PGI intended, I think. As it is today, the Gridiron is once again one of those nice to look at but otherwise average IS mediums, which is probably why they're giving it away this time, since I'm guessing few people are buying it. But now that you have it, or you will have it, what can you do with it? Well, unfortunately, if you want to make a viable build, you really don't have that many options. First, we have what is essentially a C-build bonus, but performance-wise, worse Hunchback 4G. If you don't have the 4G or you don't mind running the same build on multiple chassis, you can try this out. It's not one of my favorite builds because I own the 4G and the short-range game is out of favor at the moment, but it's not terrible. Next, we have the classic Gauss build. I've seen multiple variations of this build during its heyday, including with MPLs instead of MLs, and an XL engine instead of standard. I do prefer this build because it gives me a shield side and it has slightly more range. This build is probably still the most interesting one you can do on the GI, but it's just not that good anymore due to the fact that just a single Gauss, with about a 3.5 second cooldown, doesn't put out very much damage and requires quite a bit of face time. Formerly, you could often get 2, maybe even 3 shots off before an enemy ducks under cover. Now that's just no longer the case. You may be wondering about the reduced arm armor, and the reason is that the arms on the Hunchbacks are pretty thin and typically don't get shot often. You're much more likely to lose your side torsos than those arms. Of course, if you're not comfortable with that, you can reduce the engine size by 1 rating and max up the armor everywhere. You're mostly playing as a long-range harasser at the start of the game, trying to keep the enemy's heads down with your Gauss rifle. Further into the game, you're mostly playing low mid-range fire support. In both roles, however, it doesn't do a very good job. It has neither the DPS to do fire support well, and the single Gauss hit is often ignored by mechs with a lot of armor. Now I'm going to show a brief clip that demos how it can perform both roles, and you can decide for yourself whether you want to run this build.
New target acquired. New target acquired. Target acquired. New target acquired. New target acquired. Target destroyed. Target acquired. New target acquired. New target acquired.
For me, I still run this build from time to time, although usually after a few games, the low damage output starts to annoy me, and then I switch to my next build. And that build uses the AC5s and medium lasers. This build strictly ties the Gridiron to the role of mid to short mid-range fire support. and as a fire support mech, it does reasonably well. Unlike other mediums that can do the same build, the GI has its primary weapons high mounted, and therefore it can hit pretty much anything it sees within range. Although this can be done on the 4G as well, the 4G only gets a 15% generic ballistic cooldown instead of 20% and lacks the laser duration bonus. The AC5 build on the 4G would be significantly better at range, but slightly worse at the mid to mid-short range fire support role. The difference isn't big, but it's enough for me to prefer the GI instead of the 4G for this setup. Your ideal engagement range is under 500 meters, and you're looking to get ignored as much as possible by sticking with the team, usually a little bit behind them or off to the sides. You should rarely be the first to poke a corner or hill, and if you do get into trouble, use the left side to shield, as the entire side is empty. The downside of most medium's fire support mechs, though, is that they can't do very much on their own. They can't tank much damage, and don't have the alpha to make peaks worthwhile. But if you do get an aggressive team, this build can really shine. Since it's difficult to overheat in this thing, I take a strike and UAV as consumables. For modules, I take advanced seismic, radar deprivation, AC5 cooldown, medium laser range, and cooldown. Now let's see what it can do.
Target acquired.
See a grasshopper, a marauder, a warhawk, a zodiac, a viper, I think maybe a puma?
Target acquired.
Got a direwolf and marauder still standing back on their side, Max I think is 6.
New target acquired. Target acquired.
There's a whole bunch of that's in 5.
Target acquired. New target acquired. Target acquired.
We have that already?
New target acquired.
Foxtrot 5, we have Mark, I don't know if you know our MRS.
New target
Dude, we
acquired.
have LRS.
Yeah, Foxtrot 5 are
Alright, that's the UAV.
Target acquired.
Ray.
New target acquired.
We're on
Yeah,
the
as well.
New target acquired.
I don't know how the fuck to lock.
that direwolf appears to be got numbers over here at the main battle.
Target destroyed.
Shit, I'm getting swarmed.
Coming back. Holy shit, come on, man. Yeah, I'm stuck on the rock.
Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target acquired. New base is being captured. New target acquired. New UAV activated.
Drop the draw. Good job, team.
Well, this concludes my view of the Hunchback Gridiron. I hope you end up enjoying it, and if you have builds that you'd like to share, please add them to the comments below. If you enjoy these kinds of gameplay videos and in-depth mech analysis, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time.